Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
So the judgment will be delivered tomorrow, Friday, 8th August 2025 at 11:30. Remember, this is a matter that is before the High Court of South Africa, Gauteng Division in Pretoria. Case number 096556525. The Attorney General, as an applicant, wants a body of the late president to be taken to Zambia. He wants to say, accord it a state funeral and put the remains of the late president at Embassy Park. He has sued for this purpose to get the body. He has sued Mama Esther Lungu as widow and former First Lady. Then he has sued Betha Lungu. He has sued Tarsila Lungu. He has sued Dalieso Lungu. He has sued Chieso Lungu. He has sued Mr. Charles Piri. He has sued the family spokesperson, Makebi Zulu. He has also sued Two Mountains Burial Services. A quorum of 3 judges is hearing this matter, and the acting president of the court, Judge Aubrey Fago Ledwaba, assisted by the deputy acting president of the court, Judge Fanuel Madau, and supported by Judge Sulet Potahu Eledi, will be delivering judgment tomorrow at 11:30. Colleagues, like I announced, I'm hosting the attorney, not the attorney general, Mamona Fianchikata, if you are our attorney general. We are hosting Honorable Raphael Nakachinda. I'm having some bit of glitch here and there because of the camera I'm using. It doesn't seem to be syncing with my software, but I think we'll get by. It's a temporal matter and it will be resolved. SG, Honorable Raphael Nakachinda, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Good evening to our viewers and listeners and those who are following us on this platform. Allow me, first of all, to start by indicating or saying that we continue to mourn. We continue to send messages of sympathy and condolences to the family, to the people of Zambia, and to all of us, especially the extended family of Patriotic Front, on the demise of our late president. And it's very unfortunate that we are still discussing some of these issues. Had we applied ourselves collectively as a people, and had those who are privileged to be in government applied themselves correctly, I think these matters would not even have gotten to grace the courts of a foreign land to be able to resolve matters which, if we are honest to each other, we were truthful to each other and sincere, I think by now we should have been able to resolve these issues. Ambassador Mwamba, under very difficult circumstances of losing our leader, you also allow me personally to congratulate you for creating, as we all Zambians at least know of your skills and passion and patriotism to the country, creating a platform, not only this but many other contributions you are making to make sure that the voice of the voiceless is heard. Even us who are in opposition and other stakeholders are given a platform to which we can be able to express ourselves. We can only encourage you. We know what you have gone through and what you continue to go through at personal level, sacrificing for the country. You have never stolen. You have never abused your office. You have never done anything inimical to the country. save for the fact that your zeal and your commitment to have things corrected in the country has landed you in a situation where you have to be speaking outside our borders. You have spoken to me personally and also to other people that you are determined to come and be able to, deal with some of the issues that have personally been brought to your attention. And we can only pledge that your patriotism will pay off. Zambians will one day be liberated.
Thank you, SG. Of course, there will be a time when we'll discuss my case one day, and thank you for those complimentary and kind words you are offering. SG, where we are now, a very sad reality where we are. We have the late president who died 3 days ago. It's been 2 months since we lost the president. We have not put him to rest. We have not, interred his body because of this crisis. Just speak to this unfortunate crisis briefly, and what our expectations are in tomorrow's judgment and what needs to be done thereafter. The country has been on a cliffhanger since the late president died on 5th June 2025.
I think I have categorized, or I can categorize the issues around the funeral and embassy around the burial of our late president in 4 or 5 categories. First of all, there are personal and family issues that have to do with the President Lungu himself, as well as his family. In a very unjustifiable manner, President Lungu has suffered from the time he left office untold mistreatment and abuse. Abuse in the sense that for those of us who were privileged to be part of the transition, there were engagements between Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND and President Lungu and the Patriotic Front, presided over by our former President Rupia Banda, former President Kikwete and Koloma, where issues were discussed and they led to, obviously, what was considered a smooth transition. President Lungu was very careful to ask his successor that if there are any issues now that you are president, that you have either at the time that you're in opposition or now that you have about to take office, raise them with me. I'll be able to provide answers and also be able to guide. The unfortunate part is that the propaganda and messaging that they were propagating when UPN was in opposition and Mr. Hakainde was in opposition, they seem to have said it so many times to a point of believing things which even didn't make sense in relation to governance. So to that effect, it informed the actions they took when they got into government. So, Ambassador, we immediately saw that President Lungu was subjected to, mistreatment immediately he got out of office. One specific example I can give, and you have to bear with me, that we may have to be a bit more personal because some issues, we need to go that far. He had requested that his private residence that he was preparing as a retirement home after his tour of duty, that is President Lungu, he indicated to his brother that it's not yet fully ready. And to that effect, if you give me 2 to 3 months, I would be able to, finish, at least make it habitable, then I can move there. So President Lungu requested for a facility. President HH committed that I will allow you to use that particular facility. Night before inauguration, he abrogated that commitment and sent through a third party that I won't make that facility available, find your way. Because by that time, President HH felt secure and guaranteed that he would take the reins of power the following day. People don't know that the reason why Mama Esther Lungu didn't go for the inauguration is because she was busy trying to find an alternative, place for them to settle for a temporary period of time. And that's how the Sunzu house came to be. That was the beginning of a sign that we're not going to go on the path that suggested or was suggested it would be a path of us, having a new page in relation to how a successor relates to the predecessor. Fast forward, I think the story has been told. We all know what has transpired. The restriction of President Lungu in terms of traveling, stopping him from doing any activity. He was basically under house arrest. He can't go to church. He can't go for jogging. He can't go anywhere apart from being at his residence. When he insisted that he wanted to try and socialize out there as a normal human being, the next thing it was Yui and other people going to his house, almost breaking his gate, and we all know what transpired, to try and just basically intimidate and say, sit in your house, otherwise you're in trouble.
Thank you, SG.
2 years down the line.
Thank you, SG. Of course, this matter now brings us to the state of the country. I don't know first if you wish to speak to tomorrow's judgment, maybe before we go to the state of the country, which has now even presented where the Patriotic Front is. Maybe, unless you have some words about tomorrow's judgment and expectations, maybe speak to that.
Yeah. One of my weaknesses, which is sometimes can be a strength, is that I'm always historical before I can give the current situation and project the future. So from those personal family issues, which I think are documented, came the issue of hijacking the party, which I think is also documented, and we know what transpired up to today. Beyond that, we have seen a clear state orchestrated, UPND politically orchestrated machinery to try and polarize institutions of government. Whether you talk of parliament, you talk of the judiciary, you talk of other quasi institutions of government like ECZ, Auditor General, and all these institutions, they all have ended up with UPND cadres appointed to run those institutions. When it comes to our geopolitics, continental, regional, and so on, we have also found ourselves in a very difficult situation, starting with, first of all, abrogating our long-standing position that as Zambia, from Kaunda through to where Hichilema as president found us, we have been non-aligned. All of a sudden, when President HH became president, clearly we become aligned, and has put us in a bind today, to a point where there is now a clear situation where the China, there is a propaganda machinery that has been set against China. We also have some of the Chinese projects or mining enterprise that have abrogated environmental whatever that is a threat to the livelihood of our people. And it's like we are put in a position where we have to make a choice. It's either we're favoring the Americans or favoring the Chinese. When in fact, historically over 50 years, we have always held a position that we are friends of everybody, only to the extent that whatever we engage with these friends of ours should be in the best interest of our country. If China is in the wrong, we'll tell them they are in the wrong, not because we are saying it to favor America. If America is in the wrong, we'll tell them you are in the wrong, not because we're favoring China or favoring the East. That has been the position. Now, having described some of these issues, today, the reason why President Lungu, in his death, has become such an issue is because some of these fundamental issues, from family and personal issues, party and democratic issues, governance issues, and even our position in terms of our involvement at continental global level, are the issues that President Lungu was passionate about and was not willing to compromise, and they were the motivation for him to come back to active politics. Today, for this issue about the burial of President Lungu to end up in court, from the perspective of the party, is because President HH has not been able to respond to the fundamental issues that led to President Lungu, first of all, coming into active politics. And even when President HH sent emissaries, Ambassador, before you left, you remember Nkoloma was one of the first emissaries sent to President Edgar Chaganungu to try and persuade him on behalf of President HH to abandon the idea of him coming into active politics. And he said, the only reason I'm in active politics is because our democratic space is shrinking, our democracy is under threat. This man has even hijacked the main opposition political party and given it to surrogates. He was as clear and as explicit as I am presenting it to you today. For me, I was privileged that President Lungu, on all meetings that he held with those that were sent by President HH to him to discuss about his return to active politics, I was privileged to be among those he would call to discuss his matters. It wasn't just President Koroma, it was President Kikwete. Later on, it was General Obasanjo. Later on, it was the church that actually put it in writing that I would want to spearhead a process to which President HH and President Lungu would reconcile. And President Lungu directed me and other colleagues to say, can you pin down or pen down the issues that would want HH to address before we can even talk about going to the table of reconciliation, because I don't have personally issues with him. What I have are basically issues to do with the governance of this country. Even in his death, he could have possibly compromised, and that's what I think needs to be appreciated. If it was just about him being restricted or stopped from going for medicals, about his wife having those charges which are trumped up charges, his daughter, his sons, and other people, and the properties they wanted to grab from him. If it was about that, he could have cut a deal when President Koroma came, former President Koroma came, when former President Kikwete came, when General Obasanjo came, or indeed when the church offered. But he declined to ever have a private meeting with President HH because he was more concerned about the general welfare of the people of Zambia, including leaders of PF who were being sent to jail on trumped-up charges, whether it was Chirangwa, whether it was Chitotela and the group over the so-called Arson case, which was concocted by UPND, and there was evidence to that effect, whether it was Bowman Lusambo and others who have gone to jail purely on trumped-up charges. That is what he was concerned about. Even now, as we speak, and the people are desperate to try and use the funeral to cleanse themselves, the family are just upholding the conviction and expression of the former president to say, we can only accord you the honor of hosting this funeral as a government if you respond at least to the issues for which he sacrificed his life and was really willing to even go to the grave for as long as these issues were still on the table. That is basically the discussion, Ambassador Mwamba.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, Jim, wonderful. Clearly, the man can't be trusted with any agreement. This is a man that has broken or most of the campaign promises that he made. So it's not expected that he would honor the agreement that he made with President Edgar Lungu and the pledges he made. And although he boasts that I'm the only one that hasn't lifted the immunity of the former president, and decides everyone from Frederick Chiluba to President Rupia Banda. Of course, a matter that is not true. We can delve into those details later. What is the state of the country? You've somehow touched on it briefly, but what is the state of the country?
Unfortunately, Misaka in Hichilema is, like you have indicated, he fraudulently found himself in the office of president because of the fact that outside propaganda, lies, and all those things that he pronounced, which clearly he never believed in. Somebody must have advised him that politics is dirty, you have to use dirty tricks and so on. A philosophy that has been sold to cheap and unserious politicians, and they buy into it. He seems to have bought into the idea that you have to present, something that will excite people. Today, all of us have come to agree and accept that whatever HH pronounced in opposition, he didn't believe in it. He has not even pursued, not even one of his promises vigorously as a way of wanting to, honor and fulfill his promises. The state of the nation, Ambassador Mwamba, is that the same fear that Zambian people had around Hakainde Hichilema, looking at his history, his involvement in privatization, his involvement in many other things. People feared that he could be associated with white-collar crime. Today, Ambassador Mwamba FIC has reported, and the Trend report is reporting that there has been illicit losses of finance to a tune of 140 billion kwacha. You and me know, having been privileged to serve in government, there is no way we can have 140 billion kwacha leave the country without the knowledge of the state west you, the president. Whether that money is going through ukwa bags, as they say in West Africa, or the money is going through bank transfers, the state will definitely know what is going on. For us to having discovered these flaws and the loss of such kind of money through a report called the FIC report, Financial Intelligence Crimes Report, only goes to show that this is a state orchestrated crime. A state orchestrated crime. In simpler terms, I'm not talking to technocrats because technocrats already understand, they have read and so on. I don't have to educate them again. I'm talking to our people in Zambia, the owners of Zambians. 140 billion by UPND, they are boasting that they are giving each constituency a year 36 million kwacha. If you divide 140 billion kwacha by 150 constituencies, is coming to somewhere around 850 something million kwacha, Ambassador. If you divide 851 million or 51 or so million kwacha by 5, is bringing you to about 170 to 80 million kwacha. Whilst the highly pronounced CDF allocation per year of 36 million kwacha, if you calculate it by 5 years, is coming to about 150 to 160 million kwacha. That is for 5 years. When that allocation is supposed to be a 1-year allocation per constituency. So when you look at the percentage, in this case, if we are really a serious people and those who are in government are serious in wanting to improve the welfare of the Zambian people, does it make sense that money stolen is over 100%, 150% more than the money that is being allocated for development? That speaks to the state of the nation. It speaks to the state of the nation. Ambassador, when the UPND got into government, few months, almost a year down the line, we were, subjected to some dramatic situation of about $80 million sent to some country, and when it was discovered, the explanation we got from government is that it was mistaken and sent to a wrong country, other than the country it was supposed to be designated. And are you sure we can buy that story? The theft of drugs that were bought by the American taxpayer, it had to take the American ambassador Gonzalez to review a report that speaks the investigation and forensic audit that was undertaken to demonstrate that drugs that are essential for saving the lives of many Zambians in relation to HIV, in relation to some of these critical diseases that the American people and other stakeholders and cooperating partners have been supporting Zambia in that particular sector. Drugs have been stolen within a short space of time that UPND have been in government. That speaks to the state of the nation. The blood-shedding issue, Ambassador, that Mr. Kainde Hichilema was singing about day by day when he was in opposition, even comparing Zambia to Dubai, that uses nuclear, power to, provide, energy in their country, which technology we don't have and we're still discovering in terms of minerals in that regard. But trivializing the whole issue, today the many hours that the Zambian people are subjected to in relation to lack of power and lack of energy, that also speak to issues of the economy, is speaking to the state of the nation. The UPND, when it comes to governance, and we discuss the judiciary, today I feel for one who was highly respected before, Mumba Marira, who is now Chief Justice. When he was Attorney General, twice I think he was Attorney General, highly respected. His name is going into the sewer because he's associated with this government that does not respect the rule of law, neither do they respect the sacred institution called the judiciary. We have seen judges and judicial officers, removed from their post, like basically, people in the market. The whole system that is supposed to protect the tenure of office for those who are in the judiciary has been compromised. UPND members, UPND cadres have been appointed, and those associated personally or in terms of family to the president have been appointed in strategic positions to advance the bid of the president. Look at the removal of the DPP, Lilian Sioni. Look at the removal of judges like Sunday Nkonde, the removal of judges like Joshua Banda, the removal of judges like Kateneko and others. When you examine, it is all politically motivated. Look at the removal of Constitutional Court judges because there was a case that has to do with the eligibility of Edgar Chagwalongo. That speaks to the state of the nation. Where we are, Ambassador Mwamba, there is no patriotic Zambian that will find sleep with this regime in office and be able to go and say it is business as usual. Where we are, we need extraordinary men and women who believe in Zambia, believe in its future, and they are persuaded that something must be done about it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.
Audio